I'm going to start talking more about hypnosis because I get a lot of questions about how this works. A lot of people are curious about it. So, a large percentage of my clients are very high performing people, high net worth people, because this is who I target. This is the world that I come from, high level corporate world, so to speak, or high level entrepreneurship. So, you'd be surprised as to how many people of how many high net worth individuals utilize hypnosis to continue to create success in their life. So in this video, I'm going to answer some of the more frequently asked questions. These are their own videos. I have a ton of videos answering each of these, but today we're going to cover what is hypnosis. We're going to talk about how it works, how it makes you money. I'm going to bridge that gap for you. I'm going to talk a little bit about the subconscious mind. We're going to talk about what happens after a hypnosis session. How do you feel? What you can expect? Why it's priced the way it is, at least at the professional level or the level that I operate at. Is it even worth it? And how you can get hypnotized professionally? Okay, so let's dive into what hypnosis actually is. And I got my little drawing tool. Okay, so first things first, I have some definitions that I found to be very helpful, and then I'll give you my own definition as well of everything. Okay, so hypnosis, also known as hypnotherapy, is a method of inducing a trance or dreamlike state of deep relaxation in order to treat disorders of a mainly psychological or emotional origin. Okay. Following up with that, trance like experiences aren't all that uncommon, right? So you hear about people going into trance in a hypnosis session. It's not uncommon. If you ever zoned out while watching a movie or daydreaming, you've been in a similar trance like state. Okay. Now, let me simplify this a little bit. So hypnosis is not hypnotherapy, right? Hypnosis, right, hypnotherapy is using hypnosis as a tool in a therapeutic setting. So hypnosis is the tool, okay? Hypnotherapy is using this tool in a therapeutic setting. So hypnotherapy, is recognized by the American Medical Association and the American Psychological Association. All right. So it's important for me to say that to legitimize it and give it some credibility. Now, in a state of hypnosis, what we're essentially doing is at any point in time, you are either highly alert, you're in a state of being highly alert, or you're in a state of being deeply relaxed, right? So these are the two states that we go through in our day-to-day basis. So you have, right now, if you're watching this video, you're probably highly alert, you're tuned into what I'm saying. When you go to sleep at night or when you first wake up, you're deeply relaxed, okay? Now, on the way from you being highly alert to you going to sleep, you enter this middle state over here, right? Which from your brain waves is called, it's known as the theta state, right? So this is the science behind it, but your brain is slowing down and it enters into a theta state, which is where deep meditation happens, deep creativity, deep transformation, subconscious programming happens. And then you ultimately fall asleep, which is when your brain is so slowed down that it's now operating with delta waves. Okay. So here is where hypnosis happens. Deep meditation. Meditation is cool and all, but you don't really have a direction as to where you're going. Versus hypnosis, we are using this this opportunity to plant new ideas, new beliefs, new suggestions in your mind. Okay, so it's in this theta state that all the magic happens. Now, I don't want you to worry about that too much. I'm just explaining the science behind it. So now, in hypnosis or in that theta state, right? And this is a skill of a hypnotist, you are actually in a combination of being highly alert and deeply relaxed. Okay. This is when you are aware of what's happening. And also we are planting new ideas. We are guiding you to past events, so on and so forth, with the suggestions that we would use and give you as the client. Right. And so you'd be surprised to the magic that happens when you're in this state, also known as trance, right? You'd be surprised as to the degree of clarity that you can recall things, the answers you can create for yourself to the questions you have as to why you're feeling stuck or why you can't make more money or whatever situation's happening in your life. All of that clarity is happening here. And what happens is, in that state, and you go through the state naturally again as you fall asleep, most of our work happens here with the conscious mind. We're also going to call this the logical mind, right? The logical mind represents 5% of our brain's current processes. This right here, the subconscious mind, is 95% of our brain's processes at any given moment. And this here houses your beliefs, okay? And I'll tell you why this is important. Because in order to change your reality, you need to change your beliefs. Why? Because the reality you have created up until this point has been a direct result of your beliefs. So if you change your beliefs, you change your reality, right? Now, how do you change your beliefs in a way other than hypnosis? Well, it's very difficult to do. It takes a very long time, and you have to be very disciplined about it. You got to change all the things that created these beliefs, which really is your identity, right? These are hand in hand. Identity, right? So we're really talking about the people, the places, and the things that we associate with are all reflections of our identity, right? So if you want to know what your beliefs are, look around you, look at the people you associate with, look at the things that you possess or that you think are important or that you spend most of your thoughts thinking about. Those are a direct reflection of your beliefs, and those are then directly responsible for the reality you have created for yourself. So if you're dissatisfied with your reality, well, you need to create new beliefs for yourself, right? And people who create monumental success for themselves in like 30 days or 6 months is because they became a whole new person mentally, right? Internal change must take place before any external change even happens, right? So let's go back to this right here. So that's why this is so important, right? You change your beliefs, you change your reality. Now, how does hypnosis actually work and how does it change beliefs? Okay, so your beliefs are not what you think you believe, but they're what you actually believe, all right? So we're going to draw a little person here to represent you, right? And I made the head big for a reason. All right, so we discussed that this right here, the logical mind, right? This is where your critical thinking happens, your speech, your thought patterns, all that stuff. Not thought patterns, but like your rational mind, so on and so forth. This is responsible for 5% of your brain's processing power and your processes. Okay, so if you ever feel stuck, or you're not sure what's happening, or you're trying to plan how to make money, or whatever it is, you're really limited to this 5% right here, right? So people create monumental success for themselves by changing all the things that happen in here, right? This is the subconscious mind, which is responsible for 95% of our brain's processes, okay? Again, housing your beliefs, your identity, so on and so forth, okay? Think of this subconscious mind as the lens, right? To the lens that encompasses the logical mind, okay? So the logical mind can't think or operate beyond your subconscious programming, meaning you cannot operate beyond your subconscious programming, okay? So even if you wanted to make more money, you might get lucky, but you wouldn't be able to sustain it because there's deep-rooted fears about self-esteem, so on and so forth, right? Fears, self-esteem, like these are all housed at the identity level, okay? So on and so forth. You always, like if you experience self-sabotage or procrastination or so on and so forth, it's because your lens isn't wired in a way to even make that possible for you. This is why people experience some success, but then they go back, right? Or they can't create any success for themselves at all. And people who do create success for themselves quite quickly is because they're a whole new person in this space right here, this subconscious mind, okay? So long story short, you change your beliefs, you change your reality. The results still take time, right? The results still take time, but this is about the input, right? Your brain is a computer. You have inputted certain things into this brain, and based on the beliefs that are in here, you then spit out a certain kind of work ethics, you speak a certain way, so on and so forth. You see the world a certain way, and that produces, the life you have, the amount of money you want to make, your living situation, so on and so forth, okay? The relationships you attract, right? Your brain is a computer. I want you to understand that. If you're going to write anything down, write down that if you change your beliefs, you change your reality, and write down that you can program your brain for success, because your brain has the success you have right now, whatever level you're at, is a direct result of your brain's current programming, okay? So what we're doing in hypnosis is essentially reprogramming this computer that is your subconscious mind, okay? And I'll tell you how we do that now. So it's very difficult to do in your day-to-day life because again, you're operating up here with the logical mind. It's very hard to reprogram your subconscious mind. You can do it, but it takes a very, very, very long time. We're talking about like, it could be years, right? Of committing to a different path. Years, you know, we'll say hundreds of thousands of dollars on all the mistakes you're going to make, so on and so forth. And this is why, we'll talk about this later, people would rather just pay someone to hypnotize them professionally and get them on the right track so that, they're calibrated with the right direction. Because a lot of people have the talent. I've never met anybody who didn't have the talent to create the reality that they want. They just don't have the direction. And so they just spin in circles and circles and circles and spirals, or they take the long route, right? They take the long route to getting what it is that they want. All right. So let's talk about how hypnosis works. So we have this diagram here of the brain. Okay. So hypnosis, remember, you have different brainwave states. Okay. So you got beta states, you got alpha, you got theta, you got delta, you got gamma up here. Okay. So we tend to operate in this range right here in our working day to day. Okay. When you're deeply relaxed, remember it's theta. When you're fully asleep, it's delta. Okay. So there's a few skills that a hypnotist or a hypnotherapist rather has that they're really, really good at if they're good. Okay. First off, remember, we need to reprogram the brain, which happens as a subconscious mind. How do we access the subconscious mind if the subconscious mind, you're not aware of what's happening in there, which is why it's called subconscious? Well, we need to bypass the logical mind. The easiest way to do that is with hypnosis. And how that starts is by getting you into a state of trance. How we do that is by essentially slowing the brain down. How do we do that? The same way your body naturally does, by slowing down your breath. You slow down your breath, you bring less oxygen to the brain. It's essentially like you doing breath work or meditation. You're slowing down the breath, you're slowing down the mind. The mind begins to go down into the theta state. A hypnotist's job is to recognize when you're there and keep you there. Okay. And then again, they're not explaining this in the session, but that's what they're doing. That's the skill. Okay. So now let's bring this back. All right. So your brain waves are slowed down now. Your breath is slowed down. You feel really relaxed. All this is about relaxation, right? Relaxation. Okay. At a certain point, your logical mind begins to shut off, just as it does when you're going to sleep, right? You're not doing math in your sleep, for example, right? So, or you're not solving your life problems when you go to sleep. So the logical mind begins to shut off, right? And the subconscious mind begins to open up. So we now have direct access to the subconscious mind. Now, the skill of a hypnotist is to keep you awake, right? So again, we keep you suspended in this theta state, also known as trance. Okay. And again, you don't really feel when you're in trance. It's just you haven't gone to sleep yet, but you're not like super highly alert. You're just listening to whatever the hypnotist is suggesting to you. Okay. So you're in the state called trance now, right? Now, based on what you would have discussed with the hypnotherapist beforehand in the consultation, for example, they know exactly what to address. They've curated the session. If they're using a script, they're using a script to address exactly what it is that you need. So what happens here now is, again, based on what needs to be addressed, none of this applies to every session, but they might go to past events, right, which is called regression, but I'll just use a simple term. So we'll look at, like, something we often do with people who want to make more money is we look at your past and figure out where your relationship with money was ruined. And a lot of people realize that, it comes from their parents, or it comes from growing up poor, or whatever it is, right? Not feeling like that money was not abundant, that it's very limited and scarce, right? So they have a scarcity mindset around money. So we look at your past, and then we bring you back to the present moment and begin to feed you the seeds for new ideas with the suggestions that we're using to then calibrate, right? Calibrate your thoughts and literally your like a physical feeling of what it means to be the best version of yourself, the version of you that makes a lot of money, for example, the version of you that creates consistent success, right? It's the same way that we calibrate a compass, right? It's the same way that we calibrate a compass. Again, most people don't get what they want because they don't have direction. And not just the idea of what you want, but you have to actually feel that way. You have to see the world through that lens. right? You have to see the world through that lens. So you come out of a hypnosis session, yeah, you'll feel normal, but you're seeing yourself in a different way, right? You're no longer wasting time on things that are in the wrong direction. You have a distaste for things that no longer align with this new version of yourself. You have an appetite for things that are pointing north, right? That are on this new path for yourself. So that's how hypnosis works, okay? In a summarized nutshell without all the science. How it makes you money? Okay, cool. So there are certain traits that millionaires have, or people who make a lot of money have, that are consistent across the board, right? A lot of these things are like high self-esteem or high self-worth or high amounts of confidence, or they don't delay themselves, they don't procrastinate, they take aggression, they take action, they follow through, right? They they operate with a lot of speed, right? So these are the traits that we begin to plant into your mind, and you actually, there's an actual physical sensation. So think of when you're dreaming and you're falling off a balcony, for example. In the dream, you wake up with your heart racing, right? Or you might wake up screaming or with cold sweats. There's a physical sensation that happens in a hypnosis session because your brain cannot tell the difference between past, present, future, real or not. Okay, so that's how it works. That's how it makes you money. To again, the results will come as a byproduct of you being the person who you need to be to create that amount of money, right? Because money is not, we create money, we create things of value that then we get compensated for. Okay, what happens after hypnosis? So after a hypnosis session, you it takes a couple days. People come out of a hypnosis session. Where's my pen? On a spectrum, right? On a spectrum of being emotional and sedated, also known as relaxed, right? There. All right. Emotional and sedated, okay? And anywhere in between, but it's usually one or the other, okay? So what happens after a hypnosis session in the first day or so, people are here, one of these two things. And then you tend to go, you get grounded back into reality. But really, remember, everything happened in the subconscious mind, okay? So your subconscious mind, you're not aware of what's in there, and you are not going to be aware of what's in there all the time, and you shouldn't be. This is why it's supposed to be effortless. This is why people pay for it. It's because it's effortless. It's housed in the subconscious mind, right? But you have a different set of, remember, beliefs, identities, thought patterns, so on and so forth, that are calibrated to this new direction, your new north, right? That then allow you to take a more efficient route because, again, you have direction, right? So why is it expensive? Well, at the level I operate at, people pay for speed. And if there's any one thing that people are going to pay for, it's for a shortcut. It's for something that, number one, is guaranteed to give them the results that they want, and number two, that is faster than any other method. So like I said, you can spend the next 10 years doing things you've always done and not getting the results that you want, and think about what your life's going to look like in 6 months or next year. It's not going to change, right? And in a world that's always moving forward, you're actually moving backwards. And so people pay for this for certainty, but also speed, right? Because if you could change what's in your subconscious mind on your own to get the results that you want, you would have already done it. People would have already done it, but they can't, so they go see a professional. It's the same way people go see a therapist in any realm, right? So is it worth it? Well, I was on a client call today, and I said, to the gentleman, listen, you're going to have a budget for mistakes, right? You have to have a budget for mistakes, because on the path from where you are right now to who you want to be, you're going to spend so much money on coaching, on courses, on this, that, the third, on business ideas, because your compass isn't calibrated to your true north. There's no real path here. So you're walking a very inefficient route. And on that route, you try a ton of different things, and look at all the money you're spending. But not only that, how much money would you be making every year, every month as the best version of yourself? And people would say, yeah, 50K a month or $100,000 a month. Okay, well, every day you're not that. How much money are you giving up? Well, that's the amount, right? And so if you look at it like that, most people then, it then clicks to them to say, okay, whatever I'm paying for hypnotherapy, whether it's $1,000 or whether it's $5,000, that's a drop in the ocean. That's nothing compared to what I'm going to make as the best version of myself. But the people who take on hypnotherapy are people who are confident in their abilities naturally anyway, right? Now, last but not least, how can you get hypnotized professionally? Well, you can go through me. There's a ton of other people, but I can only speak for my work and my client satisfaction rate, so on and so forth. So if you look in the description, there's 2 routes here. You can join the Quantum Leap Academy. This is for people who are just curious, who want to test out, hypnosis products, stuff like that. So I have a ton of long form hypnosis videos. I got the 30-day Millionaire Mind program. We do weekly coaching. There's hypnosis sessions as well in there, so you could try that, but it's group stuff. If you want one-on-one custom hypnosis and custom hypnotherapy, then there's also the link in the description to apply. All right. Let me know what questions you guys have in the comments. Otherwise, see you guys in the next video.